Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp. In fact, we're going to ask the question shortly. This is something I want to do today. Who would you rather play under, Pep or
Klopp.
Jurgen? Really?
100,000,000%. I reckon Pep is intense and cold, and I've been in relationships like that, and it's horrible.
Bean?
Yeah.
Bean. So Klopp, do you think then Klopp's going to be that bit warmer, do you think?
I think so. I think Klopp is the type of guy, because that's the thing, I reckon even at your end of season, because Pep, right, after they beat Watford 8-0, was it, in the FA Cup final?
Yeah.
Pep goes up to Sterling and he's talking about him tactically. You just won like the quadruple.
See, I love that.
Yeah, I don't mind that, but I think it's a bit much because then what that screams to me is at your end of season party, Pep's there, you think he's having a good time. He's not, he's watching you. He's watching everything you do. He's watching how many drinks you've had. Whereas Jurgen Klopp is stood on the table, topless, lit cigarette in hand, open bottle of champagne, just going, hey, how high can I pull this into my mouth from? Yes! I want to play for you, Jurgen.
This is where me and you are so different. You just want a big cuddle from a big German.
A big German bear.
Yeah, big German bear.
Don't Google that, by
Whereas I love... I'll tell you what, I can't carry this on. Let's hear from Klopp on how he's feeling right now.
We don't feel really pressure, to be 100% honest. Where's the pressure? Other people 100% said already from now on, Liverpool can only lose it. Well, it's a very negative approach, but you can see it like this. We don't care. I promise you, we don't care.
So there you go. People saying that Liverpool now can only lose it. And he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't. Look, I think Liverpool are in a mighty fine position. And you know what? They were better than City. And this is what I want to talk to you about, Rich. Liverpool's defence is so much better than Manchester City's this year. And I'm going to throw it over to our former footballer, the resident football expert that we've got. Nobody with more wisdom than this. Kieran! No, okay, Rich, go on.
Injuries.
Okay. And talking about injuries, John Stones looks depressed.
No, okay, injuries. And yesterday, it bugged me a bit the way in which Neville was talking about Bravo. Now, again, part of the Goalkeepers Union, I do tend to defend goalkeepers. There was one goalkeeper this weekend I couldn't defend, who was Roberto, and that hurts me to discuss that. Bravo's another one that I do struggle with, and I have struggled with. However, I didn't think he was necessarily at fault yesterday for what happened. So he got a lot of blame from Neville, I think, for the first one, a strike from 25 yards in the corner. Fantastic strike. Never, ever has that been his fault. The question is, does Ederson save it? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Does De Gea save it? Maybe, maybe not. But realistically, is that his fault? Most Premier League goalkeepers don't save that. What I would say is that he is one of the reasons they struggled yesterday. He is. And it's not necessarily his fault. It's the fact that Ederson is that good. They're swapping a 10 out of 10 for an 8 out of 10, which... realistically, and again, I don't know what City do there, whether they then try and find someone that is a little bit more similar to Ederson. Yes, Bravo's confident with his feet, but he's not as good with his feet. He's certainly not as commanding and you know, shot-stopping broad term, but he's not as good as Ederson when it comes to shot-stopping. That's one reason, for yesterday in particular. And then previously, for me, it's been injuries. They're mixing, matching. Fernandinho's having to play there far too often. And I think that Liverpool saw an opportunity yesterday. If there was a time to play against Man City, it was yesterday.
No, okay, I tend to agree. The only thing I disagree on is you've given Bravo an 8 out of 10 as a goalkeeper. Mate, he's human Teflon.
He's playing in the Premier League.
He's a non-stick pan, mate. That's what he is. He's woeful.
He's not woeful.
He's the opposite of, you know, at those carnivals that you go to, and they're like, hey, if you can shoot one of these cups off here, and then you get a big teddy bear, and you think, keep shooting and keep hitting it, because it's like it's rigged. If it was the Claudio Bravo one, even when you just aimed your gun way up into the sky, boom, the cup would come falling down. There it goes. You don't come out with the world's largest teddy bear. There you go. Thank you, Claudio. It's ridiculous. But that said, the two big talking points, again, unfortunately, are VAR, right? And this winds me up, okay, because I want to know, what are they doing at Stockley Park?
And this is why we did some investigative research, didn't we, Just?
We did. I actually dressed as a giant computer.
Yeah.
And I was allowed in. I walked straight in.
Yeah.
There was an awkward moment when someone tried to reboot me. And then one of the members of staff there tried to turn me off and on again.
Yeah.
And did really badly for them, that.
Yeah.
And then I managed to get into position. And it's weird because you think that, you know, they're probably all watching the game.
Yeah.
They're not. There was like office chair jousting going on.
Oh, nice.
There was a game of cricket.
Yeah.
being played just in the office cricket,
Yeah.
French cricket, and there was loads of stuff happening.
The
like
bit I
that.
found interesting was the moment that they're called upon was suddenly the Batman tune playing. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and there's a big signal in the side, VAR, and they knew that it was their time to shine.
Yeah,
and they all
exactly.
sit around a computer and make the wrong decision.
Yes, 100%. And actually, they've got a bank of TVs there. But there was a picture taken, and it might look like they're watching the football, but they're not. They've got Friends on the go on one of them. Forrest Gump, great film, by the way, was on that one there in the middle. And then to the right was actually a version of Premier League years from 1999. So it wasn't even the current game.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's basically, I think, goes a long way to explaining why we are where we are.
Well, there you go. And maybe that's what needs to change.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Pep, something I do want to talk about was he was pretty upset at one point, running around, putting two fingers up. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Jose Mourinho.
Or Churchill.
Three. But he was saying two because he felt we should have had two penalties. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Certainly one. I thought the second one would have been very harsh had that been given. But certainly the first one, which does change the game. Look, this is where, and we're going to have to fast forward now to the end of the season. If Liverpool win the league by less than 6 points, because ultimately that's the swing yesterday, I think City certainly get a draw, but probably win that game if they score first, because Liverpool's game plan changes. And I think City, by the way, as much as Liverpool winning 3-1, let's not forget, City had a lot of chances yesterday. City attacking, I thought, were very good, and they are very good. If City score first, I think they go and score 2, 3, maybe even 4 goals. It's a completely different game. City could have won that game of football based on that one decision. So now, if Liverpool win the league by less than 6 points, that's going to be a talking point.
Yeah, well, it is, but I think we're going to see it as well at the bottom end of the table. And the whole thing was that with VAR was that it was supposed to alleviate what happens at the end of the season when, you know, maybe a side goes down and the manager stands and does that interview. Look, you know, we gave it a great go, but if you think back to that game in February, that game in March, when, you know, this decision went against us or that decision went against us, VAR was supposed to stop all that. Yeah. It's added to it. Yeah. The catalogue of different things now for each club is monstrous. So, yeah, look, it isn't working. I don't know, unless they are just letting the work experience kid have a go every single Saturday. I do not understand how they can get some of these decisions wrong.
Is this one where at the end of the season they scrap it? Is this one in 5 years' time? We're sat on this show and we're talking about, do you remember the days of VAR? Do you remember when they tried that crazy experiment that didn't work?
Well, the thing is, as well, is it's fatally flawed. So I saw this fantastic Twitter thread over the weekend, which is, let's take the one from a couple of weekends ago, Roberto Firmino's armpit.
Yeah.
Now, what they do is they draw a line across the attacker's foot, right? And then they draw the red line, like dotted line, down from whatever bit of the attacking player's body, you know, is deemed to have maybe been offside, down to where it meets the floor, right?
Yeah.
But that is entirely subjective because we cannot tell where the direct line between the player's body part and the floor is by looking at that picture. So if you added in 2 more red dots, which they did, the PGMOL did, then Roberto Firmino was offside. Yeah. But if they'd taken 2 out, it still would have looked like he'd reached the floor and he would have been about half a foot onside. It is nuts. It's a completely flawed system.
It's like an art class at school.
Yeah. It is at the mercy. If you give me any picture now, I could make it offside. If you give me any picture now, I could make it onside.
I hadn't even thought of that. Because they actually, of course, you can't know exactly the direct point below, which is...
not.
So it could be sort of 5 yards away with the...
And what you're telling me is that this wasn't spoken about before. No one sat around and went, sorry, mate, just lovely presentation, by the way. Really like what you did with those slides, the way it went as it came on. Fantastic.
The music at the start, great, got me going.
Just all crumbled away like dust. That was lovely, thank you. Just out of interest, isn't it a little bit subjective where we draw this line? It is it? Right, we better not use this until the technology's better then.
Yeah. I told you my idea for offsides. You need, like the greyhound racing, you need the rabbit that goes up and down the pitch and is in line with play. I think there's got to be something that is more accurate because you would feel out of everything they can do, that'll be the one. Goal line technology works. Offsides can work. I've told you my ideas on penalties. I think they could do something there. I just think if it's not black and white, there's no point. If it's not black and white, and the other thing is, and of course, the referees aren't making the decisions. They're not making anywhere near as many decisions as before because they know they've got a get out. Yesterday, Aguero was interesting. As soon as he saw a handball, there was a look that I saw where he almost felt confident when play carried on because he thought, it's going to get called back. We're going to get a penalty. So it was that funny feeling when if you know you've been fouled, Zaha had it the other week where he gets up, gets booked, but he knows it's going to go to VAR and he knows he'll end up getting the penalty. So it's referees aren't making correct decisions or not making decisions because they know they can be saved.
If VAR was like a speeding camera, we'd all be appealing our speeding tickets and winning every single week. And we'd literally be able to just get a team of lawyers to just go, well, this, and this proves that you can't be sure. And it wouldn't stand up in court. And if it doesn't stand up in court, then it shouldn't be used in the Premier League.
Fair point. Just a quick one. Pep lost 4 games at Anfield, more than any other ground. Klopp seemingly has worked Guardiola out. We'll discuss that, certainly. And Aguero, still to score against Liverpool. For all the goals he's got in the Premier League, he can't score against Liverpool at Anfield.
I think we can just go live now to Pep, actually. Oh, it's hard to hear him from inside Jurgen Klopp's back pocket.